Hello, it's Sandra Sunderlage, the third chapter, week 9. It's the end of week 9, and I thought I'd give you an overview of where we're at. Another big week, and there's lots to discuss. Probably not a whole lot of progress that you would notice, but a lot of progress has been made. As you can see, our supplies have really dwindled. They've been applying a lot of materials. And also, if you remember last week, that huge mountain of trash was picked up, but another growing mountain is being accrued. So, it's just ongoing. And of course, the ever-present pile of sand, which diminishes and then is replenished. So I think we're coming to an end of all that, though. I think the next couple of weeks we'll see an end to all of this stuff. Anyway, so we have done a lot of little things. One thing, this whole area here is part of phase 1, and so they kind of are starting to do some prep work for all of that. I have a water pump, which they call a bamba, and it's been under here. It's a brand new pump, and it's apparently a really good pump. It pumps the street water up to the water tank on my roof. And so part of this whole process in this area is to create a house for that and to clean up all this crazy pipe work, which is kind of like a Rubik's Cube of pipe work, and I don't know. So anyway, I'm leaving that up to Carlos. He can design that. Of course, I know he knows that I will have some input aesthetically. Let me push this gate open. Sorry, I should have done this in advance. All right, so here we are. Not a whole lot of difference happening here in the service entry, except that we did get the entire ledge popped out, and they did the concrete, and then they also have done the stucco work as of Friday, and it's in the process of drying. So that's done, and you can see how wide this whole hallway feels. I should say access feels. Those little ledges that were down along the bottoms of the wall in the house really constricted the space, and now it feels really kind of spacious. It's great, and I really love the way this looks with the catwalk wall there and the little formal kind of entrance almost to the casita. So what they worked on this week, as you recall, last week I was concerned about the color of the floor. So they went ahead and poured white concrete floors in the downstairs casita. And we had a little kerfluffle upstairs, which I'll describe to you. But in effect, the white concrete floors are turning out just kind of beautiful. They're kind of this kind of grayish color, but now all of this white, as it cures, is coming up. And it has just enough modulation that I think it'll be really interesting, especially once they get it all sealed. And so I'm pretty pleased with this color. I think this will allow me to kind of have more flexibility in the paint color that I use inside. Now, in the kitchen area, this is all covered. The floor is the same color, but they're in the process of doing something which I think hardly anybody in the States or in a Western country, or, I shouldn't say Western country because we're in a Western country, but they have a whole different way of doing countertops here. So this is the kitchen area, obviously. We met with the carpenters on Friday and discussed just exactly how the carpentry work is going to work for the cabinets in the kitchen, the closet area, and the bathroom. But what what the masons do is they actually pour a concrete slab that the carpentry work actually fits into. So this is what they're in the process of doing, creating a form for that slab. And the slab, as you can see, they've got these holes drilled in here. That'll be the support to support the concrete slab. And then you can see that the thickness of the slab is about 2 inches or 5 centimeters if you're in centimeters. And so on top of that, the stone will be put. And, and so this is completely different than what you usually do in the States, where you actually have boxes made of carpentry work, and then your stone or whatever material put on top, whether it's a laminate top or stone or corian, will sit on top of the carpentry boxes. Here, it sits on top, the stone sits on top of the concrete, and then the carpentry boxes actually slide in underneath. And I was trying to talk to Carlos and say, hey, look, why don't we just have boxes made and then just put the slab on top? And he just looked at me like I was from Mars. So I decided, okay, let's just go ahead and see how this looks, see how it works out. And this casita is a bit of a test case in all respects. If I like it, then I can use the same technique in the house. But if not, I'll just have to talk to the carpenter, whom I really liked. She was terrific. Just about, hey, can you just make me boxes for the kitchen, etc. And I'll just put the slab on top, because right now I'm kind of stuck with this really thick slab, or looking slab. And, I might want a slimmer profile, more European. Anyway, this is all to be determined. But anyway, so the other thing they got done down here was they did some more work in the bathroom. They actually got the concrete floor poured here. Now you can see how it's starting out. They did this yesterday. So it starts out this kind of warm off-white. And then as it cures, it becomes more and more white. The white kind of comes to the surface in an irregular fashion. But what I like about this is, other than what happened upstairs, where it was more of a kind of a peach tone upstairs, and when the white came up, it just looked kind of ghastly. Here, because it's tone on tone, it's a lot more acceptable. And the thing we have to consider is that this will be sealed, so it will, kind of the modulations will also come up with that. I think it's going to be kind of pretty. Anyway, this bathroom is looking less and less like a crime scene, and but this back area here, this all has to be done. They haven't poured the pan yet for the shower. They're waiting to get the tiles in so that they can actually make sure that the tiles module out directly with the actual shower pan. So there's a little tweaking there, then they couldn't do it straight away. So anyway, but that'll probably happen this coming week. All right, so now we're going to go explore upstairs, because we had quite a week with the upstairs flooring. What happened was that I, just pretty much told Carlos that I didn't want that color. I wanted to go with a white. And so he said, okay. And at that point, it was just the studio and the terrace that had been poured. He goes, okay, I'll have the guys pour the catwalk in white. Well, the day that happened, they didn't have any supervision. And the guys poured the catwalk in a peach color. And so I kind of had a conniption, to put it mildly. And so then something weirder happened. And that was on Friday, they poured white on top of the peach. And what I had understood was that they were going to be hatcheting up the peach color and then doing the white. But for some reason, the guys decided to put white on top of the peach. And then on Saturday, I think Arturo saw what had happened. And then that is when they started actually hatcheting up the old flooring. So this is kind of what we're seeing. This is what happened Saturday morning when they were here half a day. So basically, if you can see this, get out of the way of my shadow. This is what has happened here. So they had put the peachy kind of sandy color down. I rejected it. And then for some reason, the guys thought they could just cover it up with the white. But at that point, it had cured too far. And I'm sure, and Carlos said, is this going to peel? And I think Arturo now said, no, guys, you're going to have to hatch it all this up, and then we'll re-pour it next week. I'm staying out of it at this point because it got a little testy. Not amongst me and the work guys, or me and Carlos, but actually the guy back at the office at Form who I'm working with, he was like all in a tizzy because, this is all extra cost. But part of this was their mistake, so they're going to have the fact that the catwalk was poured in the wrong color when everybody knew it was supposed to be white. They're going to actually pay for it, but I'm going to pay for this, and it's not that much money. It's like $600 to change it. But it's unfortunate that they wasted that material with putting white on top of the the other color, and now they've got to hack it all off and buy more material. I don't know. Sometimes things happen. You just can't get too involved. You just have to kind of let it slide. So, but anyway, that's what's happening up here. I'm sure by next week we'll have beautiful white floors again. And so, what was I going to talk about? Oh yeah. So this coming week, well, we should be getting not only these floors finished, and the countertops poured for the carpentry work, but we should also be getting the electrician and perhaps even the plumber in here. It's still a war zone down here. Look at this. Oh my gosh. And I'm just going to focus on this area. So that's what's going to happen next week. Hopefully, because we are really like 2 weeks out in our schedule, but hopefully the electrician and these guys can kind of get in here and get things caught up so that we can start moving forward. And so I just wanted to say that we are at the end of week 9, and it has been a very noisy 9 weeks. The masons who have been doing all the work so far, except for the occasional plumber or electrical work, they're just a cacophony of noise at all times. And by the end of 9 weeks, by the end of Friday, my nerves are so frayed. I just thought, I might just tell them they'll go home and give me like a month to recover. I was really at that point. And anyway, I talked to a couple of friends about it, and they're all like, oh, you're exaggerating. It can't be that bad. And so at the end of this video, I'm going to tack on a little video clip of exactly what I've been dealing with for 9 solid weeks, living at the house with all these guys working around me. And then maybe you will understand that it really has been trying, even for somebody like me who has a lot of construction experience. Living in it is just a whole different animal. So I hope you enjoy this next clip, and we will see you after week 10. Adios.